Hey, Mike. I hear.
Sorry, yes, hi, you were here. I had myself muted.
That's okay. I'm just trying to figure out my technology myself right now. I'm gotta
Okay.
put my audio down. I'm on my desktop, but it's not. I don't know why it's not.
Oh, here it comes.
Okay.
There it is.
Can you see?
I can see. There it is. Yep.
Okay. Excellent. All right. I'm going to be on by phone because I think that's going to be better than my computer. My desktop doesn't have audio that's accessible, but I think my desktop's going to be better than my laptop because I'm worried that with my laptop I'm going to go in and out with the internet. So
No, that's fine. That works.
okay, so I think we're good. Hopefully we're good. Hopefully everything's going to work. Anybody else here?
There's a handful of people here.
Hello, handful of people. How are you?
Yes. I've muted everyone, but yes, there's a couple people here ready to go.
Okay.
So.
Okay, and for whatever reason, I don't know if there's chat or anything, but I'm not seeing the chat. So if there's something you need to alert me to, just speak up and let me know.
Yeah, the chat will pop up on the bottom, and I think we're a small enough group that if you just stop every once in a while and see, I'm sure people will turn their mic on and throw in a comment if they have to.
Okay. All right. I'm not seeing the chat, but that's okay.
It should be it's in the settings for Zoom itself. So it would actually be in that toolbar along the bottom that pops up on the very bottom.
Okay. So I see Q&A.
You're in the slides toolbar. Go all the way down to the bottom.
Oh, I'm in the slides too. I'm like, wait a second.
There's the chat. Someone's chatting there. Cheryl said hello.
Oh, there we go. I see it now. It's at the top of my screen.
Yeah, okay.
That's why I'm like, what? Okay, there we go. I'm going to keep that up on the bottom of my screen just so I can see that in there. Actually, I'll move it over here so I can see my slides. We're all good. Okay. Hi, everyone. How are you? I'm going to go ahead and get started. And then if anything else comes along, you'll just let me know.
I'm going to mute myself, but I'm here if you need anything.
Okay, sounds perfect. Just let me know if something goes wonky with the technology. All right. Hey, everyone. How are you? My name is Beth Poss. I am wear many, many hats. The one that I'm wearing right at this moment is assistant principal, and I have a late bus, so I'm hoping that nobody comes in my office saying that they need me because of the late bus. But hopefully the secretary here will take care of it all. The other hats that I wear is that I do a lot of presenting and training all around the country, and even sometimes internationally on instructional technology, best practices in education and technology, and assistive technology, and on a little bit. So I'll try to wear that hat right now and not the hat of assistant principal. But we're going to talk about how to increase independence for executive function dysfunction. And we'll be talking about visual supports and time management strategies, but I'll probably stray off of that sometimes and we'll go in a few different directions. If you guys want to be able to pull up the presentation, it should be accessible to you. If it's not, somebody just holler and let me know so that I can make sure that it's, that I didn't share it, that I didn't not share it. I'm trying to pull up on my laptop. But in any case, this will be available to you as a presentation that you can do whatever you want with. No sense in reinventing the wheel. If you want to be able to share this with others, refer back to it, anything. It's all at that URL, the bit.ly NH executive function. And you can reach me on email at possbeth@gmail. You can find me on Twitter at possbeth. And you can find me on Instagram. I finally figured out how to put my first name first and my last name last on Instagram at Beth Poss. So let's first of all define executive function. I think sometimes it's a term that we throw around a lot, particularly with individuals perhaps with attention deficit disorder or individuals on the autism spectrum without really talking about what it means. Executive function is the ability to organize cognitive processes, basically. When you think about that executive, we're really talking about, the ability to plan ahead, to prioritize, to be able to stop and start activities, to shift and transition from one activity to another, and to monitor your own behavior. So if we think about it, there's really three basic elements to executive function. It's working memory, so can you keep information and then use it in some way that's useful? So that when we talk about sometimes individuals who have issues with executive functioning, is it because of their working memory? They are just not able to keep a handle on what they need to at that moment. Cognitive flexibility is being able to think about something in more than one way. So can we switch our idea of thinking about something in one particular way and think of it in a different way? It's really important academically for a lot of students to have that cognitive flexibility. There's lots of words, there's lots of language, there's lots of concepts that we might use in one way in one setting, but we need to use it in a different way in a different setting. The third piece is that inhibitory control, and that is kind of those classic attention deficit disorder types of issues of being able to ignore distractions, being able to resist temptation, and a lot of the social emotional components can come into that. So sometimes when we see individuals who are having issues, social skills issues, it's really that inhibitory, thank you very much. I actually am a speech pathologist by training, but I'm obviously not pulling my speech and language skills together real well right now. It's that inhibitory control, being able to think before you speak, being able to think before you act. So just kind of keeping those things in mind is a little bit how the presentation is organized today. But first, let's have a little fun and let's play a little Pictionary. So you guys just play along with me. I'm going to show you a picture, and I want you to all call out in your loudest voices, muted as it were, what you think that this symbol means that I'm going to show you. I know you all are going to score 100% on this. Okay, first one. I hear everybody screaming, stop! It means stop, right? Okay, cool. We got that. What does this one mean? Yep, you got it. Bathroom. There's a bathroom right there. Could be men, could be women. Doesn't matter. There's a bathroom right there. All right, next one might be a little trickier. Okay. Everybody speak emoji. Probably means that somebody's feeling sick. You get a text with that in it. It means they're not feeling well, that they've got a cold, right? All right. The reason that we know all of those are all familiar to us, right? And we could just shout them out really super quickly. We didn't have to think about it. We didn't have to expend a lot of cognitive energy on that because the human brain is able to recognize a familiar object within 100 milliseconds, even more quickly than we can recognize spoken language. And that really is pointing to the importance of the use of visuals. And so this presentation I'm going to share with you, we're going to talk about things in terms of executive function, but we're really going to also repeatedly refer to the importance of visuals in helping support executive function skill. Okay. Visuals, prompts and supports can be text, they can be pictures, they can be icons. The important thing is that they're still in time. They don't move. They stay as long as somebody needs to look at it in order to process it, because maybe it's not something familiar. Maybe it's something that's a little less familiar, that is, or that is more cognitively complex. But they're constant in a world that might be changing, as opposed to auditory supports. Auditory, which is comes and it goes. Once that auditory is gone, you can't get it back without somebody repeating themselves. As opposed to visuals, they're permanent, okay? They allow time for language processing. They help prepare students for transitions. They help students, and adults for that matter, see what you mean. Visuals help all. As we go through this presentation, you are probably going to find as many tools that you will be like, I need to use that, as you will see things that maybe your students. So it's really, visuals are very universal in nature, the need for them. Visuals help build independence, and they're transferable between environments and people. So something that we use at school, we can use at home. Something we use at home, we can use at work, etc. Another important piece, visuals have no attitude. There's no tone, there's no frustration, there's no disapproval. There's nobody saying, you've asked me that question 3 times already of what's next to do. There's nobody saying, I can't believe that you didn't remember to turn your homework in, okay? And so it's really, really important. And because of that, visuals can really help reduce anxiety, sort of because of all of these things. Visuals can really help individuals reduce their anxiety, reduce stress. So let's talk about some functions. So we're going to right now talk a little bit about functions of some different tools. We'll go through tools. I can see the chat window up here. So I'm going to just make sure that I can kind of see it. If there's something that you have questions about or that you want me to go more in depth in, holler and let me know. There'll be a couple times that I'm going to ask you to tell me, like, you know, there's some different tools here. What would you like to take a look at? And hopefully everything is going to come up all right, because I realized I didn't open quite all my windows like I usually do. Because I was not having my best executive function day today, I would definitely say. Okay, so let's talk about task completion. So whether it is a traditional weekly planner, calendar style, written paper and pencil, or whether it is fancy technology, wearable technology. There's a sort of a Apple Watch or whatever, wearable technology that you prefer to use. Is the ability to use a calendar is really a critical skill. I know as an adult that without a doubt, I could not make it through my day without my calendar. I would not make it through a morning without my watch telling me what I'm supposed to be doing. And we need to realize that our students need to learn how to use calendars, and they need to learn how to use calendars early in their lives to help them stay organized. And there's no right or wrong. I have friends that still prefer a paper calendar and have fancy plan books and all of that. Or like me, I have no patience with a paper calendar. It's one more thing that I have to pull out and look at and keep organized. And I really need everything right there on my wrist. And for me, an Apple Watch was a game changer of, and I know if it's not on my watch, if it doesn't buzz, if it doesn't remind me, then I might not make it to that. And so we need to, if I as a pretty functional adult relies that heavily on a calendar, then it is absolutely okay for a student, and in particular for a student with a disability, to rely on. So we're going to look at some different types of calendars, planners, schedules. Really, schedules are just mini versions of calendars, so that we can take a look and see things at different levels for different kids with different levels of disability. So here is a shot of my Google Calendar, and I want to point out a couple of different things to you. And there's different calendars that you can use. There's not one that's better than another. It's really depending on the environment that somebody's in. It may be that it's their Apple Calendar. It may be that it is their Google Calendar. If they're always in a Chrome environment, it may be. I know for me, my Outlook calendar is probably like my most important calendar, but I can't show you my Outlook calendar because it has students' names and all of that on it, so confidential information. So I'm showing you my Google Calendar, and I want to show you some important pieces about it. First is that there's some color coding. Color coding is a really critical strategy to help with that organizational piece in order to be able to get things done and not be overwhelmed. So I've got actual events that are on there, and they're in that like kind of pinkish red there. But I have some tasks on there and then a reminder as well. So you can see looking there that tasks are in blue. And this is a feature within Google where you can set up tasks, where you can set up different calendars. I don't happen to have any birthdays that are on there right now. But you can have the tasks defaulted to blue, and then the reminders is like a darker color blue. Anyway, so that check-in on Southwest, I'm flying down to Georgia to pack my daughter up from college tomorrow, and I need to make sure that I check in for my flight as soon as we finish up here. So I've got that on there. It's set as a task that I need to do. I'm going to get alerted to it, and I know I'm going to be able to check that task off my list. The reminder there is I put pack for Georgia for tonight, and so that's just when it's set so that when I walk in my house, it's going to remind me you need to go ahead and throw your stuff in the suitcase because I'm not going to have time to do it. I don't want to have to mess with doing it tomorrow morning. So again, it's more of a reminder for me. I could have set it as a task also. Either way, I could have. But again, just different ways of setting things up. So maybe a task for a student is getting their homework done. Maybe a reminder is for them to, turn in their homework, okay? So getting their homework done is the task, but turning in the homework the next day is the reminder. Depends what wording works for, might be the way you prioritize things. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and hit the next slide. So this is, I did kind of put right in there, I wanted to show you my Outlook calendar. One of the things that I really like about Outlook, and different calendars have this option, other calendars besides Outlook have this option as well. It's not as easy to do it, to be honest, in a Google Calendar, but being able to color code. So my Outlook calendar can be pretty darn crazy. I might have 2 or 3 appointments at one time going on, so to speak, in that I have everybody's planning calendar on my calendar in my school. I have every staff member's planning calendar on my calendar in my school. I have multiple meetings going on. And so being able to color code them is really important. So I can see at a glance. So I know that in gray, because the default in Outlook, or at least the Outlook that I have set up, it defaults to having everything in blue. Light blue. And so I could just be like, it just could be a blur of blue and I wouldn't know what was important, what did I really need to attend to. So being able to color code, so I know I've got my planning meetings in gray, like it's not a color that's going to like slam into my eyes. I don't have to make it to all of those. I just need to know that they're happening. But I've got emergency drills in bright orange because I need to make sure that I have those emergency drills when they're scheduled. I have professional development in bright yellow so that I'm making sure that is catching my eye so I know like to get ready for that in advance. So again, having those, and I created those calendars. I mean, Outlook didn't come up with them, they just had the colors and I could go in and edit them all. So being able to color code the calendar is a great way to really help an individual prioritize, draw their eye to it, whatever it is they need, put in those colors to make sure that they are, so it doesn't just become this overwhelming blur of one thing in one color, and they can't figure out what's coming next. So this is a calendar generator. This is actually, hopefully this is going to open. Here we go. There's the link. So this is just a screenshot. I'm going to pull you in. This is let's see, hopefully everything's going to pull up correctly. So this is a Google Sheets. You guys can get to it when from the deck. And it's an audit. This is a little trick for you guys to know. Anytime that you make something in any type of a Google environment, so sheets, slides, docs, that you want to be able to share with someone and you want them to be able to make their own version of it, but you don't want to have to rely on them remembering to make a copy. If you take anything, so I have this particular sheet, which is actually a sheet that the calendar set up. And if you look at the URL and you go all the way down it says copy. Most of the time when you, by default, this little place where it says copy right there will say edit. But if you change that word edit to copy, it will make it so that every time somebody opens it, they have to make a copy. So I'm going to click make a copy, and it's going to pop up hopefully with a brand new version of this. Let's see if we make it work. How about I try that one more time? Make a copy. Make a copy. Okay, because technology isn't always my friend. Let's try this one more time. No, it's not opening. Okay, I'm gonna go back in. I'm gonna switch it over to edit, but I'm gonna fix this later. How does it work? Let's see if I should be able to go in. Okay. I'm going to show you the calendar and then I'll fix it so everybody can get to it later. You'd think at 4 o'clock in the afternoon, no teachers are on the internet, things would not chug quite so slowly as they are now. Okay, so this is just a Google spreadsheet that somebody, not me, I'm not creative enough to do that, created it, made it so that it's a calendar, so that it's a rateable calendar that you can click in and edit it. And in just a second, as it loads, it takes a little bit to load because it's created so that every month is a separate sheet within the larger spreadsheet. So you can see across the bottom here. If you actually go to their website, like that's on the bottom of this somewhere that we saw it before, it would take you to you can search for these also. It'll take you to, the 2020. We use these all the time in my school, both with students and with staff, because it can be a shared calendar, because we can add to it. I can overlay pictures into it if I have kids that need those visual supports for a picture, so I can add an image to overlay on top of it. And I can put whatever information that I want in it, and I can have it all sorted out and organized. And so somebody's trying to get a hold of me, but I can tell them I can't do this. Okay, sorry, back to you guys. And so, where was I? Okay, here I go. So back to this. So if I were to go into, it's right now, right? So I can go into May, I've got everything set up, and I can go in and I can put on New Hampshire webinar. Let's take the extra N out of there. So again, just an easy way to be able to create a custom calendar with, I can print it, it'll print beautifully, and I can take pictures of it as well. Back over to my slide deck. You can see all of my business down there, can't you? But that's okay. We will go full screen. Excellent. Okay, so calendar that you guys can use, and you can see that vertex42.com. You can get the 2020 calendar from them as well. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about the amazingness of the Internet of Things. So IoT, or Internet of Things, I'm sure with working with Mike, so I'm getting a message that my audio is going in and out. Cheryl, is it better? Is the audio any better?
It's having a moment here. It's okay now. It had a moment before, but it seems okay.
Okay, good, thanks. Internet of Things. So I'm sure if you guys have been working with Mike that you have learned about the Internet of Things, because it's one of Mike's favorite topics to talk about. For me, I was I bought an Alexa Dot a couple years ago, and all I seemed to use it for a while was to play music and occasionally to ask it the weather, but usually I'd even go to my phone and ask it the weather. But one of the coolest things that I figured out recently is that I can say, Alexa, remind me to whatever it is that I want. And Alexa will answer and she'll say, what do you want me to remind you of? And I will say, remind me to bring, believe it or not, my reminder at 6:30 this morning was to bring cheese. We had taco day here at school, so I had to bring the cheese. And so I set my reminder and I said, Alexa, remind me. And she said, remind you what? And I said, remind me to bring cheese. And she said, what time would you like to remind me to remind you? And I said, 6:30 a.m. And believe it or not, at 6:30 a.m. this morning, Alexa, I'm standing in my kitchen getting my coffee, and Alexa says, remember to bring the cheese. And so I did. I remembered to bring the cheese. It was awesome. It was wonderful. I didn't have to get a device out. I didn't have to type anything in. I didn't have to do anything except ask Alexa to remind me. So the Internet of Things is another tool that can be really powerful. Now, for those who might need that visual, it's not necessarily going to give them a visual with it, although you can have it, depending on the app that you're using, you can have it also come up on your phone, on your watch. But a great tool there for where it's very, everything is very transparent. There's nothing I need to get out and be able to do that. And I could have set multiple reminders, and there are those individuals that need those reminders all day long to get them. There's a Chrome extension called Remind Me. So same thing, if somebody wants to be able to have it so that it's set for them on their Chromebook, they can pull up the Remind Me Chrome extension and set a reminder. I like it. It is very clean. This is what you see when you are in the Chrome extension. Remind Me, and it's very clean. It's very simple. There's not a lot with it. You either remind me after something, so remind me after a certain time, or remind me at a certain time. So pick one of those two. So again, I needed to remember to bring the cheese this morning, and so I set a few reminders for myself. Okay. Okay, more Google Keep. I reordered I'm going to apologize. I reordered my slides, so I had something on Google Keep before, but this is actually the first time that I'm talking to you. But again, you guys have been working with Mike, so I imagine that you all have been talking about Google Keep a whole lot. So I'm going to take you out. Well, first I'm going to talk about this, and I'll take you out to my Google Keep in a little bit. Google Keep is a fantastic, it's not a calendar, but it can serve as a way of getting those reminders and those things accomplished. So if I have my tasks for Friday, that I've got to turn in my calculus homework, I need to pick up a field trip for the permission slip for the field trip, and I need to make sure I return the library book. I can set it, so with this little tool here, I can set it so that when it's going to remind me, it's when I walk into my high school. So if my high school is Poolesville High School in Poolesville, Maryland, that's where my kids went. And the second that I walk in Poolesville High School, so geographically, it's going to send me those reminders that I need to do those things that are on my list, so that I get something more than just the fact that it's on my Google Keep. I'm also going to get a reminder for it. And we'll look at some more about Google Keep in a little bit. So a lot of the tools that I just told you were really more about for maybe individuals with learning disabilities, maybe adults, maybe a little bit older kids, but there's some real importance to picture-based visual schedules as well. So remember, a calendar is simply a type of a visual schedule, essentially. It's whether it's mapped out by the day, it's whether it's mapped out by the week, by the month, but you can also have visual schedules for components of a day. And so here's just a real simple one that was made in Lesson Picks as a checklist calendar for a younger student to tell them exactly what they need to be so that they can be more independent. So in the morning that they're going to unpack, they're going to put their backpack in a cubby, put the folder on the shelf, finish the morning work and put it away, listen to the announcements. They're going to do a desk check, all of that. So again, take them step by step through the tasks that they need to do so they can have that task completion. So again, using visual schedules. One of my favorite tools for creating a visual schedule is Lesson Picks, which would be a whole nother seminar we could do, Mike, if people want a Lesson Picks training. Okay, so Lesson Picks is low tech. You create a schedule, you print it, and students would check it off. But there's a lot of high tech schedules, not a lot. There's a few different high tech schedules, picture-based schedules as well. And I don't have the ability right now to switch back and forth. I didn't want to take the chance of having to toggle back and forth between my iPad and the computer. So I'm going to take you into a video to show you first then visual schedule for a minute. So these are digital, the first then visual schedule and ChoiceWorks visual schedule are two iPad-based, picture-based schedules that have a lot of different features. I'm going to go in and we're going to take a look at this video. And I'm going to, hopefully, I'm going to turn up my audio so people can hear. And hopefully everybody will be able to hear this. Not sure what that buzzing is.
It's echoing because you have the speakers from your phone also.
I don't think you guys are going to be able to, hang on a second. We're going to instead use I'm going to narrate this for you instead, because obviously we're getting the feedback from that. Okay, so in First Then Visual Schedule, again, it's an app. It shows you different kinds of schedules you can do. You can use real photos, you can use drawings, you can use anything, any picture that you can get on your iPad. And it allows you to create different kinds of schedules. So this one is for, a child to be able to get dressed more independently. The way it was set up with that is that each step as they go through it, it's just showing one step at a time. But you can change it so that you're seeing what's happening next. So the student is seeing what they have to do now and then what the next skill is. Or it can be a whole set, like you're going to know in advance you're going to need to get your shirt, your underwear, your pants, your socks, your shoes. So again, then it clears it. Some kids do better when their schedule, when what they had to do gets removed and put in the all done. I like to call it the all done envelope. And it kind of looks like Velcro, which is pretty cool. This one slides it over so that everything on the left is what needs to be done. Everything on the right needs to be done. So different types. These are kind of very, activities of daily living kinds of tasks, but you could set it up with any task, any kind of task at all that's on there. So that's First Then Visual Schedule, and see how long is this video. It's going to go on a little longer. It's very easy. This is going through to show you how you can set it. I'm going to not so much worry about showing you guys how, but let's see. I'm going to fast forward this along. Some of the things that are really cool with this is that in addition to creating a schedule, you can also attach video with this. You can have sound. You can have choice boards within it. So if you've got students that, it's just showing you in this video right now, just choosing different pictures from different sources. But if I let's go back right here and pause this for a second. So if you look here, you can attach video, or you can have a choice board, and you can have sound. So those are all things within the app. So maybe the student, in order to do the task they need to do, maybe they need a video model of it. So as they're being asked to do it, they can click on the video and have a video model of how to complete that task. Because maybe the issue is they're not really sure how to do it. They need some prompting, but we want to create more independence for them, right? So in creating that independence, if we have a video that prompts them, it's that ever patient video that never says, you've watched me too many times, don't watch me anymore. That's it. Or maybe they need a choice board so that when they completed that task, they get the choice of their reward. So again, some different tools within First Then Visual Schedule. This is not a free app, unfortunately. I wish it was. It runs about, I think it generally runs about $7 or $8. So not ridiculously expensive, but not free either. I'm going to flip back over, close that, flip back over here. And this one I couldn't find a video of last night, but I just kind of want to show you because there's some, it's an app, ChoiceWorks app, and then there's the ChoiceWorks calendar. There does have an app demo, but I can show that to you. So ChoiceWorks, again, is a picture-based tool. One of the things that I really like, it has some similarities to First Then Visual Schedule in the sense that you can add whatever pictures you want. You can have video in it, but it has, let's see if in this demo it'll show me what I want. Let's see if it's gonna, hello, come back. view app demo. It's not helping me, is it? Okay, so we'll just, come back to it. I'll just describe it to you. One of the cool things that it'll do is that you can set a timer for how long. So this little thing here, you can see it here, it'll set a timer. So if you need to do this particular task, and it'll give you a timer of how long, and you can set it. So a nice feature to it there, and in a variety. It also has the choices. So, first, if I do, then I can do this, or I can do that. But I really like the timer component to it. So it helps students who maybe have difficulty of one of two things, either persisting with the task, so they can see that, they need to use their time wisely, or for those who perseverate on a task, that time for them to do that task is going to end, and they are going to have to stop, and it sets them up for it. The ChoiceWorks calendar, again, is a really nice calendar for younger individuals, or for individuals with more cognitive impairment that need sound, that need pictures, and being able to customize it very easily. So again, I feel like we need to give children the opportunity. I rely heavily on my calendar. There's nothing wrong with younger children learning to use a calendar at a young age. So let's pop back out. Everything's quiet in my building. I think that means that all the students' buses went home. Yay. Okay. So we talked a little bit, I just talked a little bit about timers, but let's talk a little bit about more. So in order for task completion, sometimes we just need to know how much time there is. And I actually will often just pull up on my phone timer for students and say, hey, listen, this is how much time you have. We have Promethean boards in all of our classrooms, and there's a timer component to the software that comes with a Promethean, but there's a lot of different tools out there as well. So this here is Time Timer. It's an app that you can download. This is another one from Touch Autism, which is a wait timer, and it includes a social story about waiting, and then it has an audio-visual timer, can be set to any amount of time, and then it runs background of other apps. And then there's also, let's go back over here. Then there's also, this is a free website. I'm going to show it to you. It does take a little bit of navigating to get through to where you're not seeing a whole bunch of stuff. But there's all these different timers that you can try. So like, fun timers. This is kind of letting people know how much time has elapsed and how much is left. I'm just waiting for the internet to catch up with me. Establishing secure connection. It's after 4. There shouldn't be anybody using the internet over here. Come back, come back. Okay, so there's all these different theme timers. Some of them are a little wild and kids can be more distracted by them. But sometimes it's fun if you just want to give kids, I'm hearing like a little bit of volume on this, and I just want to turn that down. Okay, so I'm just going to take you in just to show you how to get, because you'll see there's like things that are distracting. There's all this stuff over here. So you kind of have to click a few times to get, so you're not seeing any ads. It's just being very pokey. I'm going to click a couple more times. So just give my computer a second to load. I don't know, is the internet faster in New Hampshire than it is in Maryland right now? Okay, so then it's like, because I don't want to see this stuff that's over here. Okay, so it says use the clock timer in full screen. So yes, I want to use the clock timer in full screen, but I'm waiting for it to let me to resolve the host. Okay. One more time, come on. It's almost here. The anticipation, it's loading. Don't they know we have things to do at 5 o'clock? Like check in on Southwest. 50% loading. Wait, it's initializing. It'll be up in a second, I promise. you think if it's kind of like watching the water boil for spaghetti? If I switch back to my other screen, it would come back? Because this is ridiculous. It really never takes this long. I'm not sure what's going on with our internet here. Sigh, deep sighs. Okay, there we go. So I can set the amount of time that I want. Let's do 6 seconds, because that's really all the patients that I have right now. I can start nice, big, clear, nothing else around. And I can go, and it's gonna count down. Obviously, if I had it for longer time, what I like about this particular one is the fact that it does give kids a sense of how much time is left. You know, they've gone halfway through their time. So if we were doing this for a longer amount of time, obviously more than 6 seconds, you'd be able to see that. But we did enough waiting with that before. So again, just free, easy, something that you can let parents know about, that kids can use any place that they have access to the internet to be able to do that. Obviously, there's lots of different apps as well. Let's go back to our PowerPoint, our slideshow. Come back. I'm going to close some of these windows. Okay, so those are some timers. And there's nothing wrong with, oh, here, this is another one of my favorites, classroomscreen.com. It's loading. Okay, lots of different tools on classroomscreen.com. It has, it's kind of multi-purpose in the sense, so you can have lots of different timers. You can have a stoplight timer, which is a nice one. But then it has other things as well. It has drawing about it has drawing tags on it. You can do QR code, sound levels. We're going to look at another fun sound level one. But so classroomscreen.com is another great one. I'm not going to open it right now. Nothing wrong with lower tech too. These are both on Amazon, Time Tracker and Time Tracker Mini, where it changes color. So when they get started, it's on green. And you can set the amount of duration before it's going to go to yellow. So this one you can see it's like the traffic. This one it'll change. So the color on top will actually change from green to yellow to red. And so those are nice for somebody that maybe you don't want to have the digital stuff. You just want to have something that's real, that's right there in front of them. Oh, I didn't go there. But again, they're just on Amazon. Come back. Okay. And again, even some low tech necessarily not is that, you know, where students need to be. And so helping them just using simple colored paper that start, you know, you're almost finished, stop, and what the next thing is. And so giving them sort of that time. This is another one where you can cover up that they're ready, set, and you're going to get going. So helping students be able to manage that time. So let's talk a little bit about attention, because part of executive function is issues with being able to gain and maintain attention to tasks. So let's see what we got. Okay, so this is something I just recently found. It's called StayFocused. It's a Chrome extension, and it I'm not sure if I enabled it on my desktop. I had it on my laptop. But what it does is it allows you, while you're on a website or maybe you don't want to be able to get it on it at all. So you download the extension and you can set it so it blocks all websites. So maybe that student needs to attend to a low-tech task and you don't want them to be able, or they're using Microsoft Word or something that's not internet-based. And you don't want them to be able to get distracted by going onto Facebook or going onto anything else. And so you can block all websites. You can block all websites except those that are allowed on my allowed sites list. So maybe the only thing I'm going to allow is my Google Docs, but I'm not going to be able to go anywhere else. And do I want to block the whole site or just certain types of content? And then for how long? Because maybe I only need to block it for 20 minutes or for an hour or for a certain, okay. And so a great tool because we all we know what it's like to go down that rabbit hole of clicking links, or let me just check Facebook really quickly, or let me see what's on Twitter right now, and then you look up and the half an hour has gone by and you haven't gotten done what you need to get done. And so a great tool for that. Stay focused. So this is a way, we're going to take a look at Mercury Reader, and it is a way of blocking out. So let me move this over a little bit for a second, the chat window. Okay, so Mercury Reader is a tool, and I will go out and see if I can show it to you live on here. But so here I've got a Tween Tribute article up. Tween Tribute is a great website for leveled articles for students to read. So we've got a different reading level. So just not, you can have it set at different lexile levels, the same article at different lexile levels. I love it for that. But there are some, not a lot, maybe not as much as some other websites, but there are some distractions that might be on here, and maybe there's more stuff and I don't want them to go over and check out these different things. And so when I use Mercury Reader, it will block out everything but the pertinent text and images. So let me see if I can, I'm going to escape out of my slide deck for a second and see if I have Mercury Reader enabled on my desktop computer as I look through all of my, I don't see it. It's a little rocket ship. I'm not going to try to take the time right now to find it, but again, you can see how quickly and how easily it allows you to go from having a lot of stuff on there. And if you think about like a website with ads and stuff like that, you might be even more to having something nice and clean. Okay, let's take a look. I'm assuming you guys have been learned about Read and Write for Google, but there's one feature that I just want to focus on right now, and it's the ability, it's this masking tool here. So let's just, here we go. We'll just take a look at this early childhood guide. I know that's what you guys are real interested in right now, but it's on my computer, so let's just see if it'll come up. Hello. Load scripts from, that's okay, it can load. I apologize for how slow my computer is running right now. Let's see if I can get Google Read and Write to come up, or we're just gonna be so sticky. All right, I'm gonna flip back over to the slide deck because it's just taking too long to load stuff. And we'll talk about it. You can see it. So again, it's one of the features of Google Read and Write. It's this little icon here. And what it allows you to do is to move along so that students are focused on just one or two paragraphs at a time. So I can change the size, the width of what they're seeing. And so I can, with that, I can be more likely, you can see here behind, like this is the Read and Write toolbar. This is the tool that we're using right here. And so I can increase or decrease the width of that, and I can be able to see I can be able to minimize or maximize the amount that somebody's seeing so that they're a little less distracted, that they know where they need to focus. And again, so for that executive functioning where it's so easy to sort of jump around and be able to do that. So let's talk a little bit about organization. I don't know what's spinning. So here's my Google Keep. When I initially organized this, I put organization at the first, and that's why I thought I would come back to more Google Keep. Here's a screenshot of Google Keep. I'm assuming that you guys have heard a lot about Google Keep from Mike, but just in case you haven't, Mike, you want to verify that where's my chat go? If anyone,
yes, we have talked about Google Keep a bit, not a ton, but a bit.
Okay, so and Mike, feel free to chime in because Mike is the Google Keep guru. I learn from him every time he talks about it. But really, as far as organization, Google Keep is one of those tools that just has so much that you can use it for. And what I really like about it is because I can get to it on any device that I'm on. I can get to it on my phone. I can get to it on my laptop, on my desktop, on my iPad. It doesn't matter. The same Google Keep. I can keep my to-do lists on it. Okay. I can color code things. So again, we talked about color coding with calendars. color coding with Google Keep, whether it's color coding it based on what class a student's in, that, you know, everything in history is going to be blue and everything in English is going to be pink and everything in math is going to be, you know, green, or whether it's prioritizing things. You can tag things in different ways. So we've got these different labels here, so you can create labels for it. And again, I showed you back in my little to-do list, I can set reminders. So I can know that I take care of something and it's going to alert me to it. You can also, let's see if I can make it be a little more functional. I'm going to actually, let's go out for a second. I'm going to go out of presenter mode just so you can see here. Okay, so I'm in my Google Slides, but I've got over here one of the features of Google Chrome that's awesome is that I can take, so let's say I'm looking at this, you guys are all going to get this link to this presentation, and I want to put it in my Google Keep so I can go back to it. Well, all I have to do, anytime I'm in any kind of a any kind of a Chrome environment, I'm going to have this icon over here, and I can just automatically, and it's going to pop it right into my Google Keep. I can, it's doing it there, I've just got like the world's slowest internet today. And so I've got it in there, okay? I don't have to worry about copying and pasting a URL. I don't have to go into any other tool. I do have to organize it afterwards. I can't just, you know, it can be very confusing and overwhelming. I think if kids or individuals are just constantly popping things into their Google Keep, but it is a way of being able to quickly add something that they are working on and have it here. So just wanted to show that to you. I can go in and I can take a note within that. I can have Google Keep on the side, and I could, so maybe I'm looking at this here. So like, you know, maybe we're back on a slide over here and I want to make sure, oh, like I need to, you know, read and write for Google. Oops. Read and write for Google masking tool. Okay, so I can take notes side by side. So I don't have to be in a different window or anything like that. So anytime that I'm in any of my Chrome tools, I can have Google Keep up on the side at the same time and utilizing it that way. So a really, really powerful tool. Mike, you want to add any 2 cents on Google Keep as an organizational tool?
Is Google, no, do I want to add a little? No, it's just the greatest thing ever. Can I just say it that? And can my sincerity come through that it is the greatest tool? If you're not using it, you're missing out on such a powerful tool for everyone. And it has so many different levels of support that you can use it for. I mean, you could use it for just about every student and need as you go forward. So that's how I'll put it. I'll leave it at that.
Yeah, it's so multifaceted that really, if Mike hasn't done a session on this, he probably should, or he should get else. I'm one of those people that I use Google Keep, but every time I hear other people talk about it, I'm like, oh, there's another feature to it. And again, just because it's part of that, if you're living in a Google environment, so I live in a Google environment, my work is done primarily in a Google environment. And so for me, living in a Google environment, it's just invaluable. That being said, there are equivalents if you're living in a Microsoft environment. And I'll touch on a little bit about Microsoft OneNote. I'm only going to touch on it because I'm not an avid OneNote user, primarily because I'm just not living in a Microsoft environment right now. But let's go back to the slideshow. I'll go back into present mode, and we'll talk a little. Well, I'll stay here, and then I can clear. So one of my favorite tools that is also can be used, and you'll see some similarities. I'm going to just show you like Google Keep that looks like a little bulletin board. There's pins there. Well, so does Padlet. This one even more so because I picked a corkboard background for it. Padlet is one of my favorite tools. It was even more one of my favorite tools when you could have unlimited pads in Padlet. Right now, I think you're limited to 5, maybe. I just keep reusing ones that I have, but I'm going to take you out and I'm going to just show you Padlet really quickly. Let's hope it loads fast enough that we have some time still. So this is a pad that I made for ATIA a year ago, but it was a good one to show you. So some different things. The great thing about Padlet, and I'll say it's similar to, I may need to log in to move things around. It's not letting me move them around because this doesn't know it's me. So let's see if it lets me log in quickly. If it doesn't, I'm not gonna take too much time with it. Let's see if it does. Awesome, it's taking me there. Okay. So I have tons of Padlets because when it originally came out, you could have all you wanted in it, and then when they changed it so it limited them, it didn't take any of my pads away. So I just keep reusing them, but that's okay. So here's just probably an almost blank one. Yeah, it's pretty blank. It's one that we started. So it's as easy as you basically just click to be able to, hello, come back. Of course it's not working when I want it to. I should just be able to click anywhere and it will add a comment. I mean, it'll add a note, but of course it's not working for me. So simply said, you click and you can create notes. The nice thing that about this is that you can, if I go in, if it lets me show how to modify it. Technology is just not being my friend. Okay, here we go. That I can have reactions, so people can like a post. They can so if you use this collaboratively, they can vote up or down a post. So if I'm using this with a group, people can give their opinions. They can give a star on a post. They can grade it. But what I want it to be, I can have a profanity filter on it so they can't, I love it. They replace bad words with nice emojis. Isn't that cute? But let's see. Here we go, change format. It lets you have different formats. So it has a wall, which is the standard way where it's just gonna pop things up. It's gonna be like these bricks, but you could also have it be, have connected ideas. So where one idea will connect to another. It can be a stream so that it's done linearly with a top to bottom feed. Or it can be a grid where it puts it into, instead of just sort of randomly on the wall, it puts it in rows and boxes. Or a shelf, so I could have it by columns. So depending on the need, students can use this to organize things in different ways. So again, Padlet's one of my favorite tools. Okay, so I have just like 2 minutes left. I'm going to go in and I'm going to show you. I did say I wanted to give some equal time to Microsoft. OneNote allows to organize everything into notebooks with categories within the notebook. So if you are a Microsoft user, if you're in a Microsoft district, I really encourage you to become familiar with OneNote because it's a way of having students keep information all in one place that they can get to it, much like it's like your digital trapper keeper. And I'm not going to talk about Kidspiration, Inspiration, Webspiration because we're running out of time. I got 2 minutes left. All right, regulating emotion is often an issue for individuals with executive function disorder. You guys may have heard of social stories, something that's often used with individuals with autism to help them understand and practice and role play about situations that might be difficult. I really like, especially for a little bit older kids, using comics for social stories. And so there's a bunch of different comic strip generators. This is Storyboard That, and this is as well. And so fun ways of being able to help students understand. I got 1 minute left. Let's talk about, let's see, we're going to do 3 things in 1 minute. All right, we're going to talk about power cards. Power cards is a strategy where you give kids one card. and you pick their favorite superhero or whoever they love. And so they're able to, you put on there what they need to do. And so they remind them, and you like Spider-Man. So you guys are seeing what this is. So he raised his hand when he needed help and keep him from interrupting. So we remind him, I need you to be like Spider-Man. I'm going to do one more thing, and then I know it's 5 o'clock, and I'm going to let you guys go. If you didn't know it, the Calm app is free for teachers in schools. And it is a great app to help with mindfulness. And so something that can be really, mindfulness is a great strategy that you can use, particularly to help allay anxiety for those individuals with executive function disorders that impact their ability to sort of regulate their own emotions. And so I'm just going to give a plug for Calm as being free. And then my last favorite tool is Gravitarium. It's a free app. And if you use your finger on it, and you can just make all sorts of things, or there's Paint Splash, which, let's see, do I have that video on there? I'd have to go into a thing. Paint Splash is another one. So it's apps where they can just calm down. So it's kind of like a virtual, like, sensory tub. And it's 5 o'clock. I'm going to leave you with that. Mike, you should have access to the whole slide deck. I will make sure that everybody has it. I'm going to make sure right now that it's shareable with that. Okay. So now everybody should be able to get this. You should be able to view it with the link at the beginning. I'll go put that right up there right now. So write down that link. Come back. There we go. So with this link right here, bit.ly/NH executive function, the NH does need to be capitalized. And this slide deck is your all's to use and share and however you need. So thank you so much for putting up with me and my slow internet today.
Thank you, Beth. I appreciate it. Cheryl did have a question about Google Keep, and I didn't know the answer, Cheryl. I had to go look at it while Beth was talking. Cheryl's question was, can you print from Google Keep? And you really can't. The best you could do is you could copy the Google Keep note into Google Docs and then print from Google Docs. You could do that.
I didn't know that either. I haven't tried to print from Google Keep.
Yeah, so. I had never tried either to print it. I just keep it there electronic. Yeah, that's good. Thank you, Cheryl. That was good. Good question. Any other questions before we let you guys go? I know it's a couple minutes past. I want to make sure you get out of here. Excellent. Well, you have Beth's contact information if you want to reach out to her. I was recording today, so I'll make sure to drop it up on our project website, and we'll be able to review it at any time. So Beth, thanks very much for your time. I appreciate it. It was great.
You're welcome. You're welcome. Thank you, guys. And again, I'm sorry my internet was a little wonky today, but sometimes that's life, right?
That's life. It's all good. It all worked out. It was perfect. Thank you.
Okay. All right. Talk to you soon.
All right, everybody. Thanks. Bye-bye.